when you have a situation where the youth continue to outpace and outnumber other age demographics, and there are not enough opportunities for them to excel and succeed. There are not enough labor force or job infrastructure that are created where they can go into the labor market and assume jobs. And so what happens when you have a restless youth population who do not have any means or any way out, and how do they fend for themselves and their families? You create an atmosphere and create an environment that leads exactly to this type of unrest. Politicians need to take a look and see this, right? They need to take a look, because what happens is that we live in the technological age. This is a youth that were born during the digital age. They are the controllers of the digital economy, right? They are the controllers of digitization. And for them not to be able to give opportunities to, I would say, be able to express their skill sets in the best way, right? What is a degree if it cannot be put to use, right? And it's not only the responsibility of the individual, it's also the responsibility of the government to ensure that there is a flourishing labor market and labor workforce and opportunities. And so as much as we want to say, please invest or bring investment to the continent and bring investment to Nigeria, that investment also has to turn into opportunities of employment for the young people who put themselves to school so that they can have a livelihood and make something of themselves. These riots are examples of this. This is the very reason.
For example, the intellectual balance of power has been shifting in the African youth's favor. They are more educated, they have access to Ivy League schools, even here in the United States, because of this information age. So they know what's happening all over the world. They see how governments are running their governments, or they see how these politicians are running their governments, and they're like, no, we've had enough. How would you respond to critics who say that maybe the governments are not paying attention to some of their needs?
It has to be true, right? So if they are in the streets protesting, if they're doing every single means to get the attention of the government, or to get the attention of the elected leaders, or to get the attention of the president, that means they're desperately seeking some type of way forward, or desperately seeking some form of leadership. There's nothing wrong in communication, right? There's nothing wrong in talking to a population of people who feel desperate, who don't know where to go, who go to social media to vent their pain and frustration, who are trying to find ends meet on how do I pay my children's school fees? How do I keep a roof over my head? How do I buy the necessary things to just eat, rice, tomatoes, all of those things? For a long, long time, people have been saying that, look, if the government doesn't do something, or if the government doesn't act fast, or the government is not strategic in the way that they communicate, what you'll end up seeing is that these young people who have been sort of sitting at the sideline, who's been grumbling and who's been grunting and who's been sharing them frustrations amongst one another, will now come into the forefront to now lead campaigns and now lead social movements that will garner international attention. And I think that's what's happening now. When there's nowhere to run, people end up running to the street.